It's the 7/10/16. In 2009, I left the dad of my boy, and in 2010, the conflict about that was over. 10/11, there was some small conflict in my different approach of pedagogic and stuff like that. Nothing serious. There was false rumors attack on as me as a mom, coming from the media con family, right? Which were excused. The Esbjerg Community made an investigation. I was not guilty in any of the things that Hannah with Hey has said, the family relation in media. In 2011-12, I had two personal references, chasse affair. One with a USA-Russian taxi driver, not a physical affair, just the introduction of different side of the world and so on. He was also related to RT, which is a Russian news station accepted by the West in London. And actually there was surveillance from that 12 September 2012 from the room where the child is screaming. When the Danish authorities came in. In 2011-12, I had a chasse affair with a Norwegian man called Jarl. Jarl, I think, was interested in knowing my point of view. We discussed world economies. We discussed the Norwegian tragedy of the Breivik. We discussed international point of views and stuff like that. What you do in a chasse affair is, of course, to try and get to know the different players, what company we are in here. Jarl was warning me against security problems. Jarl was warning about security problems I would have in Denmark. He said that the previous Nazi general, Fogh, or the government, was not intending to protect me. I kind of knew that from previous, but was pretty sure they wouldn't harm me more than they already had. Time had changed from ill treatment based on police and Stasi's attack and media attack. But I was insecure about what it was about, so I precautious moved my beloved football horse to the track of Billon racetrack. She was not a racehorse, but I had friends there. And because I didn't want to walk in public space or use public transport with my boy, because I thought it was a target thing he was talking about. In Christmas and New Year 11-12, I was together with Jarl shortly, and he discussed a lot of things, and then I was sending off mails to FBI and to the White House concerning my security again. And I also concerned Ukraine, the problems in Ukraine, maybe based on internal problems in Europe more than West to East problems or West to Federation Russia. And I also concerned other things in the mails. For example, payment, account stolen and so on, organized crime and stuff like that, missing people, and things about India-Pakistan peace. And there was a lot of information, and those information were running from 1985 on fax to the FBI, to the White House, on phone calls, calls to United States Embassy in Copenhagen, talks in London, talks in staying in Ireland and London, talking to people, and staying in Europe in general and stuff like that, and being in the United States. So September 2012, Jarl had left, and I was alone in Esbjerg, and I was pretty concerned. The 12th, 14th September, I was at the police station in Esbjerg asking for protection against hatred SMS, hacked probably. I also felt the danger. I felt really, really danger. And I felt that if police refused to protect us, that we would be lost. And I actually calculated in the way that I thought if I was going to leave Denmark with no money, no passport for my boy, it would just be just as dangerous as staying. Europe is swimmed over by organized crime and human traffic, and traveling alone as a woman with a child without a passport is dangerous, no matter who you are. And actually, I also thought I trusted Denmark until that day. So the 12th September and 14th September, I was raided by something that now looks more like contractors, police with military background, military in dressed off, and so on. Or even some outsider drawn in, I don't know. Actually, they came in the apartment late afternoon, Danish time, and they raided. Uh, I thought they said they were from Esbjerg, but the way they moved was not a normal social affair. They ran around, and I tried to calm the situation down, which is also on the RT tape. And actually, I tried to, hey, let's drink some coffee, and we talk about that the boy is going to go with you on some kind of holiday. I pack his thing. That was illegal. I wasn't allowed to pack any things. They didn't want to drink coffee. They didn't want to make it an easy time for the boy. They wanted to get out of there fast as enough. Actually, then the boy started to scream, help, I'm freezing. And my apartment never known to be cold because I have a lot of injuries, so it has to be a little bit hot. So actually, I knew because the danger was increasing, I knew that they shouldn't be in the apartment. I knew it was wrong. I knew the child was screaming for his life. I knew that we was in danger. We were told. So actually, I decided that what I wanted to know was what they did. I wanted to get a confession if such one was there. So actually, blinded, I couldn't see anything. I could see a fake shadow or somebody sitting on my son's bed, and the child was laying on his side behind her, and he was crying silent. And I tried to calm him down. And I also, before that, heard some very scary sound. So I actually asked the person, which I think was a woman, curly hair, seemed to be black-eyed, seemed to be a little in a kind of uniform, black trousers, seemed to be with a makeup. I'm not sure about this because it was blurry. And I got a confession, full confession on MO. So actually, I don't know how what happened after. There was also some kind of noise in the surroundings, some kind of police fire, what a fire, something. Actually, I stayed inside the apartment and I began to feel the physical shock coming. And I hurried to call the dad, of course. He was unaware what was going on, so he wasn't involved. Even police tried to blame him after. I called the United States, said I feared for my life, and that tape was used in the Bengazi hearing as the call from Bengazi, which is also the call from Denmark. In the mails, I forgot to tell, in the mails to the White House 11, 12, I also spoke about Steve's security because I was warned on that somehow. And actually, I could see that there was some conflict increased. So actually, I combined those two information. Actually, I think that Clinton approached Steve to find out if he was, you could say, an honest person, and then would be a problem. That's how I see it today. I also think that Steve, I hope somehow, whatever. But actually, in that situation where they took the boy, I called the three people I knew was important. I called the dad of the boy and told what I had seen and heard. I called United States, said the same. and I called the Esbjerg, which is a magazine from this Copenhagen, to be sure that somebody knew what happened if I died, because I also feared that time that they would come again and take my life. Still, I do fear that actually, not in the daily life, but there is a threat. I'm a witness, and there is a threat, and somebody has stolen my money and so on. Anyway, the next morning, or I don't know, this is my memory is deconstructed by what happened later and also the shock. But I was shitting in my trousers, and I have never done that in my life since I was a kid. I've been in Northern Ireland. I've seen people get shot. I've been in the mid of some stupid fight in Copenhagen, the plaguing. I was accidentally witness to some of this because I was stalked by one of them. I have never ever lost control over my sheathing. And actually, I got so scared that I went in a physical shock, and I heard myself almost saying, goodbye to the world. And at that time, I had the confession I thought I would never see my son again. And at that time, I didn't really care. So I went from September to October and investigated everything. I knocked on empty cars. I knocked tunnels. I, looked in garbage. I looked at any place in Esbjerg I could. I was at the last in a fireplace, and I was in Copenhagen twice to see if there was any link to Österbro, to Vesterbro, blah blah blah. So actually, I was actually hurt my leg in August, I think, and I got some very beautiful military boots from England, and I used them for a year. They're still precious to me. So actually, 14th September, I came back to Esbjerg, and a small interference with there was a criminal ran away from some youth problem, Icelandic or ferry or something, that made a trouble, and the police, I was claiming over the noise, police took their chances and got me into a hospital. In one way, it was good. In another way, they tried to kill me again. I was overdosed. That was serious, and even the Copenhagen control of patient security actually criticized Esbjerg for overdosing. I could just have died. That was the second murder attempt in that September, October. And actually, the doctor shown to be maybe a German missing person. I'm not sure. There was no really in that hospital. It was the one section was a disaster. There was nothing to do. It was chaos. In the other section was pretty okay, and actually I gained, strongness. I had lost enormous weight in September. I didn't eat much in September, and there wasn't any account open or something. So actually, I was in the hospital for months, and I repeated what I saw in the apartment September 12th. There was no interest of putting this together as a witness stand. And actually, I left the hospital to go on a horse farm just to get as far away I could, and also to not, get too close to memories at that time. And actually, maybe I crossed a Scottish missing person case in that as a render in that place. So actually, and that circulation might even be pretty interesting in the missing person case, the Vermont and all of this stuff. That's another thing. But so actually, I got back to the horse in Billund, and I tried to run the case through the court system. It didn't succeed. It was corrupted. The lawyers were corrupted. The government held their hand over the wrongdoing of Mrs. Clinton and the Danish government and all of this. So that's it. I see my son, 1 hour a month, right? I couldn't for sure tell you how that's made. One of the person might speak American, and one of them is, I don't know. But actually, it's a bit weird because it is really like seeing my son. But there's something wrong anyway, right? So, and right now, the situation in my apartment right now is there's a room ready for a boy moving in. There's, everything is fine. And if we could just take down the wall of investigation, put the accounts set right for what I earned, and put the situation right, return the boy. Somebody need to walk out of the mayor office in Esbjerg, the police office in Esbjerg. They have done wrong. Over.